Hello, What Nuts, Humpty Dump Nuts, $53 8-piece fried chicken dunk nuts. It is What Chaos on Wednesday, April 3rd, U.S. I'm DJ Bean. That's Jeff Skinner. That is Jeff Skinner. Hi, boys.
Apologies for the low energy on today's show because I'm hungover from the party that was Jeff Skinner's 1,000th game last night.
Oh, my God. Basically, the entire episode is going to be that Jeff Skinner had a crazy 1,000th game celebration, but we would be remiss if we did not apologize to the viewers, listeners. We as journalists have a responsibility to be upfront and report things as is. Yesterday, in a lapse of judgment, I graded the slate for yesterday evening an A-. I, in that moment, felt that it was the right thing to do. If I had given it more thought, I would have given it an F. That was the worst slate I've ever seen in my life.
It was a bad slate.
That slate sucked.
Not a good time.
That slate, I mean...
The Bruins played in that slate, and the Bruins played a great game. They had a nice shutout victory, and even that didn't really move the slate needle for me. The slate stunk.
I turned off the Bruins game with 10 minutes to go in a 0-0 game. So I was like, is anything else on? I ended up seeing all the action, but that whole slate was terrible. It wasn't interesting. There wasn't any juice to any of these games.
There was, but the games that had juice fell short in like the actual entertainment value. On the same day that we had talked about we're on a good run of things living up to the hype. The games that had some hype behind them last night were duds, big time duds.
The Golden Knights scored immediately in the Canucks game. Golden Knights Canucks was really the only great game. Bruins Predators promised some playoff action. And I know that there were good things about it. Linus Ullmark got a shutout and he was really good. And Linus Ullmark's been awesome since the trade deadline. We'll talk about that. But that was, just one of those nights where because you've trained yourself every night this season to just go home and watch hockey, you're like, I just really need my hockey right now. Mm-hmm. Made dinner, fired up the air fryer, shut out Adam Fantilli and Patrick Laine, sat down and was just so dissatisfied.
Yeah, there are some nights where you're like, damn, why doesn't it feel like this every night? Where you're like, this is the most electric existence. How does not everybody love this sport as much as I do? And then there are some nights where you're just like, how do I do 82 nights of this or whatever? Like, how do I do as many slates as we do? But last night was a big time stinker.
Granted, it could also be that I was on a high of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, LSU, Iowa, incredibleness. And then I had to go back to watching normal sports. Sean, I'm going to the Celtics game on Friday. I've already committed. I'd get in a lot of trouble if I didn't go. I kind of want to skip that to watch Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers.
I mean, yeah. That's like, yeah.
That
might be the two greatest women's basketball players, college women's basketball players of all time.
As a true basketball head, I think that your hand is forced.
What's that?
You gotta you gotta watch the girls. I mean, that's
way girls basketball is famously better than guys basketball. Like the NBA and like college, like have your
like
fun
right now.
Like your like
true.
Final days. The NBA is having its last gasps before Caitlin Clark just takes over the world.
From what I've seen, the NBA is just like the late season NBA is a tough watch.
I mean, I'd even argue that we've discussed this friendship-wise, that there gets to be a point of the hockey season when it should be exciting because the playoffs are starting to take shape and everything. But also you're like, we're not at the playoffs yet, and we're also not doing the grab-assy fucking people are grittying during games. Like, you're not going to see a gritty the rest of the season.
No, probably not. Like, we're at the point where you're too deep to be unserious, but not deep enough to be fully serious.
Well, tell that to the Buffalo Sabres, because last night's Jeff Skinner 1,000 game celebration, I will note, we were supposed to be joined by Catherine Fitzgerald, Buffalo Bills beat writer for the Buffalo News.
Didn't need to note it.
What's that?
I said you didn't need to note it. Didn't need to bring this back up.
Got to note it. Is not only a prolific NFL writer, but a huge Jeff Skinner fan and Buffalo Sabres fan. And I believe she's not from Buffalo.
No, Arizona. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if she's from Arizona. I know she went to ASU.
Interesting. But like got to Buffalo and the Sabres got their hooks in her. Loves the whole Jeff Skinner experience. Was at this celebration last night. And we were going to have her on because it was such a show. Take that to mean performance and or shit show, that we needed the perspective of people who were there. Wouldn't you know it? The Buffalo Bills traded Stephon Diggs today, so she's unable to come on. That doesn't mean that we weren't super prepared to have a long conversation about this outrageous Jeff Skinner 1,000 game celebration. 1,000 games is an achievement that has been accomplished by roughly 400 players in the NHL, so it is obviously quite uncommon. We've had a few celebrations this year.
It seems to be the year of 1,000 games,
believe
does
they
it not?
said there's 47 active NHL players who have reached 1,000, which was a lot more than I expected.
It is more than you did, but still, in the grand scheme of things, 400 guys doing it. We've seen some of these. I was at Brad Marchand's 1,000th game this year, and there's been different celebrations by different teams and everything. For some reason, though, we have heard about this Jeff Skinner thing for days. They're doing like pre-celebration. They're doing rolling out jet skis before the game. They're doing Lily Collins videos the weekend before they do the celebration. Amazing, unique, one-of-one branding for this event. Crazy. Like, do you want to give the rundown of all the shit? Because there was a lot.
Yeah, so they gave. Do we want to get into the gifts that they gave? But like in the lead up, they gave a jet ski. They had custom concessions menus for Jeff Skinner's. We went over those yesterday. We have a little update on those in a bit. They did the Lily Collins cameo. They had a special jersey patch on the jerseys for Jeff Skinner, which is the first time I've seen that. What else? What am I missing? They gave away red beanies to every fan that entered the thing, because Jeff Skinner wears a red beanie sometimes.
Bespoke music selection. The music that was played throughout the night was of Jeff Skinner's choosing, and as he is an ally, they were like all by women artists. Love that.
Yep.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
They also brought back Between Two Stalls this week and had Jeff Skinner on as a guest.
They had at the game, they had a Between Two Stalls photo area where you could go and pretend you were on Between Two Stalls. And I saw people posting pictures from that thing. No offense to Santa Claus at the Columbus Blue Jackets game, where we got right in there. Line for the cannon wasn't too long either. I bet that line for that thing was crazy.
For the Between Two Stalls?
Between Two Stalls thing.
Probably.
I don't know if it was that crazy. I don't know if you watched the game. Lots of blue seats.
Oh, really?
Lots of blue seats. It's the Buffalo Sabres. People do not go to those games.
So that's possibly my take on it. We'll get into the crazy dogged research that I did. This was not the first 1,000 game celebration that the Sabres had this season.
Yeah.
In fact, they did one for their captain. And I don't remember this much fanfare and this much hoopla. And I'm wondering if it's because it's late in the season. Sabres have been sucked off. Ain't nobody trying to go to a Sabres game right now. So you got to sell tickets. How better to do it than with a custom Jeff Skinner 1,000 games patch, which I asked Catherine, I was like, if you have time, check the pro shop. If they're selling shirts with that, hammer them.
Yeah, I think that everything looked good. Everything was presented pretty well. And I like the way that they did it, because like we mentioned, like this year has seemed to be the year of 1,000th games. We've had a lot of 1,000th game celebrations this year, and it's a great accomplishment. Don't ever want to like take away from the players that reach 1,000th game. Good for them. But like, it doesn't it doesn't register for me in the way that this Jeff Skinner one has. They turn this into a party, and it's a good way to get me to care about what's going on for a guy's 1,000th game, especially because a lot of the stuff that they did happened before the game itself, like in the lead up to the game, which is an incredible way to do it, both because it creates anticipation, good way to create content, but also it doesn't like bleed into the game, because there's nothing worse than showing up to a game and getting like a half an hour ceremony before a game where you're like, just fucking drop the puck. I don't need to see you give this guy wine and paintings and all this shit. It's like being at a baby shower and watching the person open gifts. Nobody wants to fucking do that. Open it on your own time, or like just don't inconvenience everybody else. I love that they gave all the shit basically beforehand and then just did like a quick little picture with the stick and with his family. I thought that was great.
The on ice ceremony was a lot quicker than I would have expected it to
Yes.
be. I think given how much they had done leading up to it, I guess I hadn't considered that they were maybe doing that in place. But it looked like the kind of party that would have both a bouncy house and a coat check. It was like, there was just like you know what it was? It was like an Entertainment 720 party from Parks and Rec, where they just like rent out that huge space and they have everything. They've got who's the pacer? They have like Roy Hibbert playing one-on-one with Detlef Schrempf. There's just all sorts of shit going on. Hannah Montana music is playing.
It gave me grad party vibes.
Grad party? Yeah.
It's like just as much for the adults as it is the kids.
Well, and I think that's perfect because Jeff Skinner has big, like, still a kid at heart, but probably like one of the oldest people on that team.
I love him so much. All told, he got the custom jet ski. Do we want to show that video, by the way? Here's the video of him getting a jet ski before the game.
The best part of the video of him getting the jet ski is that they pull the jet ski onto the ice with one of those like four-wheeler off-roading vehicles. And as soon as he saw that thing, he was like, oh, cool, they're giving me one of these. Because they do give those things and golf carts to guys a lot.
And that looks brand new. Like it looks
Maybe
nice.
He got both.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't know. But he thought that he was getting like the four-wheeler. And he was like, oh, cool. And they were like, no. What's pulling it? And he's like, oh, this is sick.
Can I ask you boys, which would you rather? If you get that four-wheeler or the jet ski?
Jet ski 100 times.
Oh, I'm going four-wheeler
for sure. More utility.
Utility. I'm not using either of these. We all work at the same place. What are you getting utility for? Like, what are you going to use it for?
There's utility growth potential.
Yeah.
You can come up with new things.
Yeah,
I love getting on the water and flying.
I mean,
do you jet ski?
Oh, I can't say that I do jet ski. I have been jet skiing and I love it.
Objectively, jet skis are more fun and cooler than those little four-wheeler things. But in terms of utility, I think I would take the four-wheeler because you could bring it into the woods. I don't have dock space. I don't have a lake house. I don't have a whatever. Like, what am I going to use a fucking jet ski for?
Sean, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Would you like to go sailing with me this summer regularly?
Regularly?
Regularly.
Like regular sailing or go sailing regularly?
Would you like to keep a regular schedule of sailing with me this summer?
I can't say I've ever been sailing. I've like only ever been on a jet ski.
You were like, you were like, oh no, I only do the cool one.
I just don't know what that
like,
entails.
oh, you snowboard? Want to come skiing with me? You're like, I've never skied before.
I don't know. I don't know what that entails. Like, I don't know. Because like when I hear sailing, I feel like there's work that needs to be done.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what.
You will be put to work.
Yeah, I don't know what that.
I've got a group of friends that go sailing.
I think that's the only reason I would want to go sailing is for the utility.
Dude,
like,
it is fun. I'm still like, I couldn't captain sail, but after like 100 trips now, if someone tells me what to do, I can kind of do it without asking for clarification. It's fun. You learn, and if you wear, Pete knows this, if you wear the same hat the whole summer, it gets all faded and warm because something about being on the water.
So I'm not like a huge water guy. Like I definitely, the one time I've been on like a real boat, I got a little seasick. The jet ski I have like complete control over for the most part, which is why I'm a little more comfortable on it. I think I would go sailing like at least once though, just to try it, but I don't know necessarily. I wouldn't predict that it was something that I would enjoy, to be honest with you.
That is the exact enthusiastic response I expected. Can't wait, buddy. It's gonna
I
be.
definitely would. I definitely would go. I'm also like very jonesing to get on the water because I don't know if you know this. Not a whole lot of water in Arizona.
Oh yes, that's right. Well, so all this and all of this, like, why is this such a bigger celebration than all of these other 1,000 game celebrations? Made me do a lot of homework yesterday.
Well, we haven't finished the Skinner the haul.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got a Tiffany Crystal. He got a silver stick, which is the silver stick is customary for 1,000 games. He got a custom jet ski. He got a personalized video from Lily Collins and a special concessions menu, which, like, he didn't get the concessions menu. The fans in the stadium got a concessions menu.
They did it in his name. And as when I reveal what a lot of these people got, a lot of it is stuff the team does in your name. Like they go. You were mad about the price of the concessions menu.
I wasn't mad about it. I was stunned that it was $53. But as we said yesterday, so it was $53 for the Skinner chicken dinner, which is 8-piece fried chicken dinner with mashed potatoes, gravy, mac and cheese, and coleslaw in a 2-foot branded boat. I was disappointed that the 2-foot branded boat was like a Buffalo Sabres branded boat, it appears.
And a paper one at that.
Yeah,
A paper one. I thought it was like a commemorative Jeff Skinner 1,000th game boat.
Which understandably so. This needs to get left off the description, in my opinion.
You can see the Skinner 1000 logo. I love that logo so much.
Great logo.
I considered putting in our rundown a game of this Jeff Skinner logo versus an NHL team's logo and see like where this would rank among NHL team logos, because I bet it would be like top 25 at least. Like this is better than some other ones, but I do agree that I wish it was presented in some sort of commemorative souvenir take home kind of thing, much like the Johnny Gaudreau cup from which I am sucking my water right now. However, the pushback on $53 for that, I feel, was greatly unwarranted.
Agreed.
8-piece fried chicken plus sides, $53 at a sporting event. My only issue is how much mac and cheese and gravy and mashed potatoes are you serving
Decent
to balance out that you are giving 8 pieces of chicken? Like, are we working with like thighs?
This was
breast?
like a family meal. There was, so the guy who posted that picture originally, Derek Kramer, I believe, he responded to our tweet about it actually and said that he got it. And I was looking at his Twitter, and he posted a picture of, or his friend got it or whatever, and it's like a sizable, like this size container of each thing. Like it's like a legit like serving.
It's a Boston market trip.
Yeah,
so that's not
exactly.
too bad.
It's I would say it's more. I would say like it's a good deal.
Well, I guess the only thing that I have to compare it to is the bucket of chicken at the TD Garden, which is 10 pieces of, it's 10 tenders and like an entire bucket of fries, and that's $25.
Those are both really good deals, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the one at the Garden, because you get either one of those, you're for sure not getting anything else the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go in and leave spending under $60, I don't think that's so bad. Like in my beer purchasing days, I'd go to a Celtics game, spend like $400. Just fucking million deepas to the face, fucking dumping them on people, getting kicked out of the game.
I do wonder if the Sabres asked Jeff Skinner if he wanted to wear the goat head jersey last night.
Yeah,
they had to have, because they kept saying, and for Jeff and for Skinner's 1,000th game, they get to wear the goat heads.
Yeah, I was thinking that last night. I feel like it's a bad sign for like your actual jerseys when anytime anything special is happening, you go to the other ones. Like you may just want to go back to the goat heads.
No, but I think that the Sabres have the best 3 uniform set in the entire NHL.
I would much rather goat heads permanently and a royal throwback alternate.
I disagree, but to each their own. And I love the goat head. I just like it as a nice little treat sometimes.
The old white, like the old white goat heads, and then the red like saber alternates, they were so good.
This also, by the way, this crazy party took place during another event for the Sabres.
yes.
It was at, pardon me, Sean, is it called Dingus?
Dingus Day.
Dingus Day, which is a Polish celebration that we're told is very big in Buffalo. Sean knew what it was.
Yeah.
I did not. Pete did not. But people on hand at the game said it added to all of the Jeff Con, which is, I believe, Seltzer Mom is the Twitter user who coined it, Jeff Con. There's everything going on, including a Polish festival. Sean, what is Dingus Day?
I mean, it's a Polish holiday that's celebrated right after Easter, usually the Monday after Easter. I think it has something to do with Lent or something like that. But yeah, it's a huge Polish holiday, and Buffalo is a massive Polish population. I don't really know too much about what goes down. I'm not Polish. All I know is that it involves pussy willows, and you whip
Watch
people.
it.
You whip people
Cut
with
my
pussy
penis!
willows. That's all there is. That's all I know about it. I don't know where it came from or why, but
Cut my penis!
Pussy on Dingus Day.
Yep.
What is going on?
pussy willow. It's one word.
I'm aware. You
I
sent it
know.
in the chat last night. I have no idea what any of these words mean. Dingus Day, I feel like, no disrespect to the Polish, but like you got to rename that holiday.
I mean, so would that make people have called folks a dingus?
Right.
Is that a slur?
I have no idea.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. People aren't necessarily
everything
nice
that
to the Polish.
Americans have said forever, you could trace back to being a slur.
every time I've seen dingus used as like an insult has been DINGUS. This is DYNGUS.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from a. I don't speak Polish, but it's like Smigus Dingus is like the actual Polish way to pronounce the holiday, and then Polish Americans ultimately turned it into Dingus Day.
Chad is killing it with the puns. We got Bobby Orr. We got the Buffalo Sailors. We got scroll up, Sean. There was one that was really good. Cam Talbot. I liked that. There are a bunch of good ones, and now we're getting Dingus.
I was going to say I
puns.
want dingus puns.
Yeah, there's Luke Glendingus. There's Ken Drydingus.
Dry dingus.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned Pingus on the show yet.
Have we not? We've talked about it a lot outside of the show. Probably not.
I don't think
I
we've
don't
ever
remember.
brought it
Yeah.
to the show.
So if you know about who the fuck is Tingus Pingus, the New York Knicks fan who was very angry when the New York Knicks drafted Kristaps Porzingis, and he's yelling at the TV, who the fuck is Tingus Pingus? I never heard of Latvia. Fuck this guy. Fuck Tingus Pingus. Tingus Pingus is the best. The Celtics have Kristaps Porzingis now. I was at a Celtics pregame bar, saw a person who just had a Tingus Pingus Celtics jersey on. It was amazing. Absolutely love it. But there was a thing going around on Twitter that there's an actual wine called Pingus, and it's like $500. I want it so badly.
Maybe that goes to the winner of the Chaos Chain. They get a bottle of Pingus.
A fresh bottle of Pingus?
Or I'm reading more about the Dingus Day's Wikipedia page. Apparently, part of the tradition in Poland is reading directly from the Wikipedia. It involves taking a live bird, quote, without permission.
Oh, boy.
And stuffed with grain soaked in vodka
Oh,
to make
boy.
him crow loudly.
Ooh. I might be out on Dingus Day.
I might be out on Dingus Day,
I might
too.
be out on Dingus
Can't
Day.
do Dingus
Just the
Day.
Polish Dingus Day. Polish American Dingus Day is a lot more fun, it seems.
I hope
need-
they didn't have any sort of ceremony for Dingus Day at Jeff Skinner's 1000th game.
I was going to say, Jeff Skinner's got to be nowhere near that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We got to get him back on the show and have him denounce Dingus Day. Although now if we say that we should denounce Dingus Day, that I don't want that to be an anti-Polish thing. If
Right.
people who don't know those roots celebrate it because they associate it with family.
I just don't want to be involved in anything that involves a bird funeral without consent.
I just in your free time, both you two and the listeners, go read the Dingus Day Wikipedia page. It's very fascinating.
And while you're reading that, I can tell you that all these celebrations that were done for Jeff Skinner, and us knowing that this wasn't happening when all these other players this year celebrated their 1,000 games. I spent yesterday on YouTube just hammering various Marc-Andre Fleury, Nick Leddy, JVR, John Tavares, Victor Hedman, like all of these 1,000 game celebrations to see what did they do for these guys? Did they get anything like this fanfare? And Sean, if you want to begin hammering these full screens, Here is what other players got for their 1,000 games this year. Kyle Oposo, who is the captain of the Buffalo Sabres, same team, Dwight, got a Tiffany crystal, a silver stick. I should note, both of these things are customary to be presented from the NHL and or the team. He got a Tiffany crystal and a silver stick. You'll find that those two things mostly are universal. There's a little drama coming up. Silver mini sticks for his children, which I think is a very, very nice touch. A framed selection of photos chosen by his family, and a portrait by a local artist. Victor Hedman, who you saw the team also wore those 1,000 Hedman jerseys, got a Tiffany crystal, silver stick. The Lightning donated 1,000 pounds of pet food to the Humane Society of Tampa Bay in his name. Framed commemorative artwork, a custom luxury watch, they did not say the brand, custom engraved Opus 1 wine, I looked it up, that's $450, not bad, and silver mini sticks for his children. Brad Marchand got a Tiffany crystal, silver stick, custom painting, a custom Rolex, and a 2018 Silver Oak Cabernet bottle. I looked that up because they were so specific and so detailed in what it was. It's a $100 bottle of wine.
Oh, boy.
Bruins.
He's the captain.
Weird flex, but okay. Let's keep it going.
How did they not get him a gun?
I know. Marc-Andre Fleury, because he and Kevin Miller already have probably $1 million.
I know.
Marc-Andre Fleury got a Tiffany crystal, silver stick, $5,000 check for his charity of choice, $10,000 to the American Indian Family Center, and a custom mask highlighting the 4 teams for which he's played. I will say, having watched all these, the mask was very dope. James Van Riemsdyk got Tiffany crystal, silver stick, custom painting, custom Rolex, 2018 Silver Oak Cabernet, retail value $1,000. What's cool about JVRs?
You say 1,000 or 100?
What
Because you said 100 for Brad Marchand.
Oh, the 2018 Silver Oak Cabernet is $100. My bad.
Okay, yeah,
$99 actually.
Okay, there's a big difference between a $1,000 bottle of wine and a $100 bottle of wine.
We couldn't taste the difference though.
Definitely.
What was very cool is this game was against the Flyers, his first team, and so the Flyers then came out. Sean Couturier, fucking Torts was probably pissed. He was like, "Get back here! I want to send the tall goalie to do it." They presented him with framed lineup cards from his first and 1,000th game, which looked very nice. A custom bottle of wine. I will note they did not say what it was, but I got a freeze frame of it being Silver Oak. Although I will say it came in like a wooden box. So I'm like, I think that maybe they got a little nicer version.
You think they got like a brand deal with Silver Oak?
Silver Oak, and I don't know, maybe there's like you know how restaurants have like corking fees?
Yeah.
They're like, it's either got to be the wine that I serve or you could bring it in, but you got to pay us for it. Maybe the Garden has like a Silver Oak thing.
Okay.
Only Silver Oak is to be served there. Nick Leddy, this one's a bit of a bummer. Silver stick, custom jersey commemorating, quote, his amazing accomplishments and a Rolex watch. Note, I watched this thing twice. There was no Tiffany crystal.
Interesting.
Yes. And lastly, John Tavares got a Tiffany crystal, a golden stick from the Toronto Maple Leafs, mini golden sticks for his children, a painting, and $25,000 to the John Tavares Foundation. However, as I watched all of these, they said, presenting now a golden stick and golden mini stick. Sean, play this for me. Let's take a look at this as they trot out the golden. Hold on. It's somewhere here. Let's see these golden.
That looks silver to me.
Doesn't look very golden to me.
That looks silver to me.
That looks silver. Got a freeze frame too of the quote unquote golden stick from the.
That looks very silver.
Those are definitely gold.
Are they?
Yeah, look at the hands.
Look
at if you
watch
watch
real close
if you watch that video again, you can clearly see that they're gold. Like they're not a very yellow gold, but like as long as they're not, the light's not reflecting off them too harshly, you could tell that they're gold.
I will say that gold gives off less of a brilliant shine than is depicted in, let's say, cartoons. But I will say, if I were to take the stand and they said, did you see John Tavares presented with 3 golden sticks? I would not be able to confidently say, yes, I did.
Yeah, so I don't even know what I'm hoping. Like, am I hoping that it's gold? And
That's the whole other part of this conversation is
like, why do they give him gold instead of silver?
Who are
Silver
you?
is customary.
It's
Like,
because it's
you
the
think you're
Maple
better
Leafs.
than us?
Right? The Maple Leafs, and we give our guys gold sticks. Cool, man. Give them a fake gold trophy too, because it's the only one they're getting.
I feel very bad for Nick Leddy.
Yes.
Nobody cares about Nick Leddy, apparently.
Winners
That
and
seems-
losers of playing 1,000 games. Winners. Winners has to be the what's it called? The custom oak. What is it?
Yeah, custom oak.
Silver Oak
$100.
Cabernet. They are the winners because if fans want to be gone off that Marchand Pingus,
Maybe
they
just
gotta.
maybe they just get them silver oak because it falls in line with the silver theme.
That's very thoughtful.
Mhm.
I think that'd be very nice.
would make sense.
But I mean, Victor Hedman got Opus 1. I would say that the best package might be possibly Victor Hedman. I like the 1,000 pounds of pet food being donated in one's name. That's
got a big. You got the Opus 1 wine, silver mini sticks. Yeah, you got a pretty good one. Jeff
20
Skinner though got a fucking week-long party.
Jeff Skinner for sure still got the best thing. He got I don't know how much Jeff skis go for.
Jeff
The
skis.
jet
Yeah.
ski is definitely the best thing that anyone got, I think.
Better than $25,000 to the John Tavares Foundation, which Leafs are just writing that off.
Yeah, I donations to charity are like recycling to me. It's a lot of times there's a lot of bullshit behind it.
But so there are two schools of thoughts. It's like, do you want the best party or do you want the best gift haul?
Yeah.
And I think Jeff Skinner got the best party and the most memorable party. And like, he also got a very good gift haul. So I think that Jeff Skinner is coming out a big winner in this. And like, I honestly think that the last two teams that have seemingly thrown big events surrounding a beloved player have been the Penguins, who did a week-long party for Jaromir Jagr's jersey retirement, and then the Sabres have done a week-long party for Jeff Skinner, and they've both been awesome. I want to see teams kind of lean into that more, where it's just like, this is Skinner week or this is Jagr week.
I think the Sabres, ever the leaders in the NHL on the cutting edge of success, have Sean's shaking his head, have thrown down the gauntlet. I think they have set a new standard. If JVR is hitting 1,000 games this week, I think we're looking at a different little situation. Although the Garden also did sell, I believe, JVR 1,000 t-shirts, and
They did.
I don't
And they were
have that
great.
yet. But if and when we do a Bruins Pro Shop Wars, I'm gonna be sucking those things down. Like
one
they're
thing to
Pingus.
also mention on the Skinner one is that they had the celebration and the lead up and like the whole party before his 1,000th game, which doesn't always happen because, well, I guess sometimes guys do it on the road, but like even for Marchand, I think,
It
or
was after.
JVR
it was
happened.
JVR.
They're both after.
Yeah, they had it like pretty well after, like 1 or 2 weeks after they played their 1,000th game.
No,
JVR was like the next
Yeah,
game.
so
it was
they-
like that weekend.
They acknowledge it during the game, and then I think the next home game, maybe a couple
I could have
later.
sworn the Marchand one was like significantly after.
I don't remember Marshall. I just remember distinctly the JVR one because we went to his 1,000th game.
I'll say
And
it's more than one game after because I was at Marchand's 1,000th game. That was against the Lightning. And then I oddly was at the next Bruins game, which was against the Kraken. And they didn't do it for that. So it was maybe a week.
I think JVR.
after.
I think I remember the JVR one being like, oh, they probably wanted to do it on the weekend type thing because it was
Yeah.
definitely. I think it was like 2 games after.
I still would have enjoyed that celebration. But what I love also about the doing it the game of, is how much risk is associated
Oh,
with
yeah.
it. Because you don't know that he's hitting the ice. You don't know that he's not going to pull something, getting on his new jet ski. The best part about that, though, is if something like happened and they had all this stuff planned, it's going to get a little dark. We love you, Jeff. Hope you live forever. But it would have been like a rest in peace, Jeff. You would have loved this.
Also, bold for the Buffalo Sabres to be the team that does that, because if there's any team that would happen to, it would be the Sabres. They'd have this like very, very enthusiastic party planned for Jeff Skinner, and then some dark shit just happens to Jeff Skinner on the way to the rink, and they have the most awkward night.
I don't like the
KeyBank.
tenor of this conversation.
I don't like the energy behind it either.
This is treating, and I hate to do this, but this is treating the Buffalo Sabres like they're the Arizona Coyotes. The Buffalo Sabres are they don't have things go wrong for them.
Who are they playing in the first round?
Who's got the longest playoff drought in the
I
NHL
know,
right
but
now?
like they are like consistently mediocre. They are not a team that constantly has things going bad for them.
That seems like short-term memory, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, not really. They don't have things go like drastically wrong.
There were
like,
some dark days like 3 or 4 years ago.
I mean, obviously the Jack Eichel thing it didn't play out very well, but that wasn't like a freak thing happening to them. It's not like we never have to worry about them moving. We don't have to worry about their owner acting up on Twitter. We don't have to worry about. They don't do dark things. They just become largely irrelevant.
They're
and
just
disappointing.
Sad. Chat is saying that DJ missed the Marc-Andre Fleury painting that the
I'm
Penguins
sending
gave
it
him.
to Sean right now. The Penguins did give Marc-Andre Fleury a painting that was very flowery and very nice. However, it wasn't during. The reason I missed it is because it wasn't during the celebration. But it is still a very nice painting. And if we're noting what the Flyers gave JVR, I feel it's only appropriate to note what the Penguins gave Marc-Andre Fleury. It looks nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little painting. I like that.
No? Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I
about
like
that?
It's solid. It's not going to like
It doesn't bump it up higher
an
than
A-
an
to
A
an
minus.
right?
Yeah.
So I think we got a couple sponsors. We got.
We do have sponsors, and let me tell you, man, sometimes I'm sick of playing against sharks, and that's why I do my daily fantasy with Prize Picks. March is over, but the biggest moments in college basketball are happening right here in April. And what's great about using Prize Picks is you could sprinkle all over. You can combine everything you want. For example, from basketball to hockey, League of Legends, and everything in between, you can pick LeBron, Caitlin Clark, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. You can get Jude Bellingham in there, and Caitlin Clark, and Zach Hyman, and Evan Bouchard. You can bet it all. You combine them, you shape it, you roll it out, and hopefully after you need it all, you're looking at a 100x because you can turn $10 into $1,000 on Prize Picks. It really is incredible. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you're turning that $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. So go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
And if you want your own 1,000th game celebration in the future, you better get to work and download that Game Time app because 1,000 games, nothing to sneeze at. You got to start boosting those numbers. And Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. They're obsessed with finding ways to save you money. We love Game Time. We all use it. We're all big fans of the all-in pricing, full transparency, no hidden fees, no ambushing you at checkout. You get to see like the zone deals. You get to see, what seats have the best value, most bang for your buck. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section in row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They won't just match it. They'll give you money. Who doesn't love the ticketing app that gives you money? So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHAOS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CHAOS, CHAOS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
I think we got to start doing a daily Capitals watch, and I don't mean the Washington Capitals. I mean just watching who is currently the Capitals. And right now, the Penguins are the Capitals, meaning what is the team that you say, what the fuck, you were supposed to be out of it forever ago? What are you doing creeping into the playoff picture? Right now, the Penguins could make the playoffs, man. They're 3 points back.
Crazy that team could make the playoffs. Although the Penguins and the Capitals definitely have different energy around them because I have not seen a single person claim that the Penguins are good. And I think Capitals fans had enough of a turnaround at the All-Star break that they sort of tricked a lot of their own fans into believing in them.
Mm-hmm.
And that has gone south very quickly. They've lost their last 3. I think at this point, everybody should acknowledge that every team in the Eastern Conference wildcard race is bad, minus the Tampa Bay Lightning, who I don't consider like on the bubble because they're firmly in wildcard 1.
Right. They're the 4th Atlantic team, and the Atlantic is good. The Devils, meanwhile, were sucked off by the Penguins last night. So rest in peace to the Devils. We will never talk about them again for the rest of this show's
I said
run.
this last night, and I firmly believe it. If you took the Penguins, the Devils, the Capitals, the Red Wings, the Islanders, and whatever, any other, like even the Sabres, you all throw them in a room. You throw one knife in there and you say only one of you can leave. They would all just take turns stabbing themselves until one of them just like limped out and died in the doorway. That's how one of these teams is going to get into the playoffs.
And it would be the Sabres, and like as they're walking out, they like break their Achilles and they can't get out of the room, and you're like, well, someone gets a first round bye this year.
Right.
There is no second wild card team. I like that, though. It's all very enjoyable. Capitals, meanwhile, are hitting a bit of a skid themselves. They got to get their shit together. I understand the last night was Skinner night, so that's a buzzsaw. You're walking into that, you're losing. But tell you what, Capitals, you ain't the only shitty team that might make the playoffs.
I know.
Don't rest on your laurels. Maybe they've gotten a little tall for their taste.
Which it's hilarious the way that all of this is taking place, basically. But it's very funny that all of these teams, none of them are going to like firmly command a playoff spot, even though if any of them had their head on straight, they could be firmly in position right now. But they're also like, they're all just like coming in waves that they're not maximizing draft position either. Like the only team that I would say has committed to the bit is essentially the Devils.
Yeah.
The Devils are like, okay, yeah, we actually suck. And I think they've been sucked off famously, but it's probably good for the Devils. Like they're going to find out that Travis Green isn't their guy. They're going to maximize draft position and just completely flame out.
Somebody in the chat says we all know how this ends. The second wild card team in the East wins the first round in 5 games, then gets swept in the second round. Absolutely, that's what's happening. Bruins, Panthers, Rangers, you're all on watch. One of these asshole teams is going to beat you in 5 games.
No, they're not. There's no way.
I don't think so either. I think that all these teams are so extremely assholey that I don't have confidence in. Like if the Predators were in the Eastern Conference, I'd be like, you know what? That team's going to that's going to be a tough out. None of these teams are tough outs. And I know that no one in the Eastern Conference is absolutely amazing. Panthers are really good. But by and large, this second wildcard team this year, I think actually for real is going to lose. It is a huge night because of that shitty ass slate last night. It is a huge night for yours, the whole world's Edmonton Oilers, because the Golden Knights famously beat the Canucks 6-3. Canucks have the second game of a back-to-back tonight in Arizona, and the Oilers are 5 points back with 2 games in hand. They play on the road, the Stars. So by the end of tonight, it's possible if the Coyotes, for the first time in their stupid fucking lives, can do anything, the Oilers can be 3. Sean has been shaking his head this whole episode. The Oilers can be 3 points back with 2 games in hand. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good position to be in. I mean, going up against
and
Dallas,
playing them one more time.
Yeah, right. So they do. It is certainly coming into higher probabilities that the Oilers could take that division, but like the Stars are a tough opponent tonight.
Correct. And I should note pretty much all of the Oilers' remaining opponents are like, I mean, I can just pull up right now Oilers schedule. Their remaining schedule, I keep saying, is tough because it's some fucking world beaters, man. At Dallas, home against Colorado, at Calgary, which say what you want, that's not an easy game. Home against Vegas, home against Arizona, home against the Canucks, home against the Sharks, at Arizona, at Colorado. So there's a couple of little breaks in there, but you're playing Colorado twice. You're playing the Golden Knights. You're playing the Stars. you're playing the Canucks.
Yeah.
Not easy.
No, I mean, they're dead in the middle of when I'm looking at remaining strength of schedule. They're 16th. So they're dead in the middle. But like if unfortunately for them, Vancouver is right in front of them. So 15th hardest strength of schedule. So
well, from the first Stanley Cup, or I guess the Western Conference favorite to the Eastern Conference favorite in our ideal Stanley Cup final, we go from the Oilers to the Boston Bruins, where, yeah, they don't really score goals anymore. That thing has kind of been over for a little bit. But Linus Ullmark, boy, oh boy, ever since he said, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not freaking leaving, to quote Killers of the Flower Moon, he's been amazing.
he has
last night.
4-2 in his last 6 games since the trade deadline. .950 save percentage. He had a shutout last night, second of the season, and he had an incredible assist on a PK. He just flipped the puck around the boards, sprung a nice little fast break on the PK, and what a night for our boy.
He's an offensive player.
That's
always
right.
has been, always will be. Charlie Coyle.
He's a real stat humper.
What's that?
He's a real stat humper.
Well, Charlie Coyle, nice little goal there. And Danton Heinen also getting in the... There are some good things about the Bruins. Danton Heinen has been an absolute godsend.
I want to ask you, at this point in time, we know the debate is coming. Who do the Bruins start in game 1? Because it's very clear that Swayman was the better goaltender in the first half. Like, if you look at the splits, the pre-All-Star break, Swayman had a .925 save percentage, had about 4.5 goals save above average. Ullmark, .913 save percentage, negative 4.5 goals save above average. So Swayman clearly superior in the first half. Second half, Ullmark has a .921 save percentage. Swayman has an .899. He's sub 900. And the goal save above average completely flipped. 4.5 for Ullmark, negative 4.5 for Swayman.
Yeah, to me, it's easy. You start Ullmark in game 1, but the most important thing is who you start in game 2. And the answer for the Bruins this year will be the guy who didn't start game 1. And that is the real big decision to make. Do you rotate the goalies? Montgomery has hinted at, and I think flat out said that he's going to. I don't think that Swayman in the second half of the season since the All-Star break scares me so much that I don't want him to play a postseason. Like, even if Ullmark gets a shutout in game 1, you're planning on having a long postseason.
It's not that I don't trust Swayman. I do trust Swayman. I think Swayman's great, and I don't think those numbers. I don't think he's been like a sub 900 goalie, even though the numbers say that he has. Even if it's an 899, the Bruins just don't look as good in front of Swayman lately, and I don't know what the reasoning for that is, but they just don't look as defensively sound. Like you look, they've given up 60 more shots in the same number of games. But both of them have played 14 games since the All-Star break. Swayman has gotten 60 more shots, like about 20 more high danger chances, and they're giving up a goal more per game with Swayman in net than Ullmark. So I don't know what to make of that and how much to read into that, but they just don't look as good in front of Swayman.
While we're on the Bruins, I'm going to sneak a 3 stars in here. David Pastrnak sealed the game against the Predators last night with an empty net goal. I believe just his 4th empty net goal of the season. But if you are from Boston or know our friend Mike Felger, there is nothing Mike Felger hates more than when David Pastrnak is on the ice with an empty net. Here is him. Do you have it, Sean? Here is him after the game last night.
What's bugging us? I have a Bruins bugging, so I'll just go first because it ties right into it. You know what we got tonight, Mike?
What's that?
SH. You know what that is? Stat humping, my friend. We had some
stat
humping.
I love it.
Sarah, how many goals does Pastrnak have? I don't even care how many he has. I'm curious of the number. 46.
Yeah.
Well, they just got him 46 tonight, 2-goal lead. You throw Pastrnak out there, one of your worst defensive players with an empty net. You keep that superstar happy. You keep that stat sheet filled. These are ones that I don't have a big problem with because it's a 2-goal lead.
Yeah.
I think the nights that they have Pastrnak out there with an empty net with the 1-goal lead, I talk about this all the time. I think that's unconscionable. 2-goal lead, you want to do a little stat, you want to do a little stat action, okay. Give him a little stat hump there and get him his 46th goal. But it still bugs me, trust me.
Okay, all right. But
He will never get over this.
No, it's
all he cares about.
It's the most bizarre thing. And anybody who's been paying attention, David Pastrnak is not a bad defensive player.
And he doesn't play poorly when the goalie is pulled. Like, how many times have you blamed a goal against on a turnover of David Pastrnak trying to score an empty net goal?
I think that, like, the entire season they've been scored on once while Pastrnak has been out there with the goalie pulled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Pastrnak hasn't become a great 200-foot player, but he can be one at times. And I think that
Pavel Datsyuk?
Yes, his ceiling is Pavel Datsyuk. I actually remember my friend Dan Kagan and I. Dan Kagan used to cover the Bruins. We were watching him his like rookie year or something. We were like, he could end up having like a little Hossa to him or something.
Yeah.
Which my hope is just like everyone becomes Marian Hossa.
Against an empty net this year, David Pastrnak has been on the ice for 7 goals and 1 goal against. The Bruins have been scored on once with the other team having the extra attacker. Like,
Humping.
if your results are 7-1, what's the problem? Relax, old man. Shut the fuck up.
Humping.
It's a weird grudge. He has a weird grudge against David Pastrnak.
Humping.
My penis.
Jesus.
He does. He does. Which is weird because for years and years and years in Boston, the only complaint that fans could have was they don't have a real pure goal scorer. Every year, the Bruins were finishing top 5 in goals for.
Mm-hmm.
They would have like 900 guys score 25 goals or something like that. Your third liners are just pumping out 20 goals. Like everybody eats. Truly, everyone scores 20 goals. And the only complaint people could have with the Bruins was, yeah, but they don't have a real pure goal scorer. They wouldn't know what to do with one. They have had one of the best goal scorers of his generation. And the problem is, I hate that he scores a goal.
It's crazy. It doesn't make any fucking sense. He has the biggest grudge for no reason.
Humping.
My
Humping
penis.
for sure. Humping.
He's humping my penis.
Jesus.
It's no good, but I do love it, and it entertains me every time. Like even as I was watching him score that empty netter, I was like, "Oh man, Mike could be mad."
He also only has 4 empty net goals this season, so like that's pretty far down the list of guys. Like Kucherov has 7, Crosby has 7, Marchessault has 7. Would Felger have the same energy for Nikita Kucherov or Sidney Crosby for scoring 7 empty net goals?
I will say that if the Lightning didn't win as many cups as they've won, Felger would probably write off Nikita Kucherov as a losing player.
It's crazy.
He'd be like, yeah, you want to go in and show up at the also? Oh, yeah, why would you try? Yeah, you know.
We should have him on. We should.
He'll
never come back on the show.
I think he'd come back. Another third star should go to the official who hit Trevor Zegras. It's not good behavior, but an official hit Trevor Zegras. Struck him.
It's Trevor Zegras never beating the everybody hates me allegations made by us, because it's just been a tough week for people not liking Trevor Zegras.
Yeah, bumping him along the boards there, and I believe it was presented online as an official accidentally bumps Trevor Zegras. Accidentally.
Well, I don't think we ever got to the Anaheim Ducks, like a day after Trevor Zegras had his tantrum in the penalty box, smashing the camera. The Anaheim Ducks tweeted out, caption contest, and it was just like a photo of Trevor Zegras. And all of the replies were like, hey, I'm a big fucking baby. Aren't I annoying?
I'm one tantrum away from getting traded was one of the... I just love the word tantrum, man. I love it. when
For like an adult?
yes.
Yeah.
If you ever seen Nathan For You when he's meeting with the private detective guy and he's yelling at him and he's like telling him that he doesn't have Yelp reviews, so his goal is to get him more Yelp reviews, and he's yelling, he's like, why would I give a fuck no one cares about Yelp, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And Nathan just calmly says, are you done having your tantrum? I love it.
Also,
he has tantrums, and refs let him know.
One of my 3 stars, speaking of having a tantrum, Bobby Ryan, just a total fucking dickhead all day on Twitter yesterday. Just complaining about women's sports, saying women's sports aren't real, blah, 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 blah. He went on a whole tirade. It's 8:43. I want to go home and pretend like women's sports are a thing. He did the whole like, hey, name 7 players name 7 players, not 1, not 2, 5 to 7, first and last names. Go for it. Talking about women's basketball, and everybody just saying, hey, calm down. You're being a little bit of an asshole.
Yeah, he's being a huge asshole, and not to make it personal, but for the duration of Bobby Ryan's career, other than some of those early years in Anaheim, if you told somebody to name 7 hockey players, Bobby Ryan wasn't going to be one of them. So I don't think that he should be the ombudsman of notoriety.
Sure, I like Bobby Ryan as a player a lot, which is why it's disappointing to see him be kind of an asshole here. And I know that Bobby Ryan has had his tough times. I hope he's okay, and I hope that he has better behavior moving forward. But it seems like he's really standing his ground and dying on this hill, and at a very weird time.
There's been a lot of, we've talked a little of like people relearning how to be sports fans as they get into a new league and a new genre of a sport they might like. What's driving me crazy with the women's basketball thing, it obviously, we talk more women's basketball on this show than we talk NHL at points. You know, I love all the Caitlin Clark stuff. As Caitlin Clark becomes a star and is discussed regularly on the First Takes and the Sports Centers, as she should be, there's like a lot of gatekeeping about how you can talk about Caitlin Clark. For example, the conversation of should she go pro or stay in college, which happens every year with every star player. Famously, Pete Carroll was saying, oh yeah, Mark Sanchez shouldn't go pro. He's not going to be very good. He should stay in college. When people have an opinion on that, it's like there's like this, how dare you? You don't know whether they'll be better. It's like, yeah, none of us fucking do. That's why we talk about sports like idiots.
Right. Well, it's an interesting discussion. I don't think it's wrong to have the discussion, and you know, asking whether or not it's better for Caitlin Clark to stay in college and be extremely dominant in college, especially with NIL now. Like, I don't think that's a wrong discussion, and I don't think it doesn't have the energy of like telling somebody what to do, but it's wondering whether one might be more lucrative or like capitalizing on like a certain window versus the other.
Yeah,
I think it's a fine discussion to have.
I've seen people ask that question and just truly ask that question and get owned. Like, hey, would Caitlin Clark make more money if she stayed in college? Like, clearly they are saying, I don't know this answer.
And it's not a dumb question
they're
because
fucking smoked
it's
for
not
it.
a dumb question because this is the first time that we've like seen this type of situation with NIL, I think, where like you've got a extremely dominant college player who is like, and no offense to the WNBA, but it's like it's not on like the level of like
Caitlin Clark is currently more famous and could theoretically generate a Nike or a whomever more money than a lot of WNBA players. That's factual.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is it's not a dumb question at all because Angel Reese, who just declared for the draft during the show, is on record having said before that she wasn't going to go pro because there's more money to be made in college. And now she's going pro, which only proves the point that it's like it's complicated and it's a question that should be asked.
It's weird though. Doesn't it though feel like that thing that I've talked about a few times on this, where like, people suddenly don't know how to talk about sports when like the players and the people are different?
It's not. I don't think it's not that people don't know how to talk about sports, but it's like I think now everybody thinks that they're fucking right about everything and that you're not allowed to have like a conversation or a discussion, and you're like taking away someone's agency by asking that question.
That's a fair point. This is the biggest superstar of the Elon Twitter era. So all of us are so brain dead online, and we send the tweet and we make the judgment before we finish the thought, that there is so much, like, I tweeted this, I was like, this is like angry and like borderline hateful, the conversations that people are having about Caitlin Clark, which I'll tell you what, Pete, you have to listen to a Caitlin Clark conversation for like an hour before every show every day, because Sean and I are like, yo, Caitlin Clark was even better this most recent game than she was before that one. You know who's the fucking best? Caitlin Clark, which usually you're hearing us say that about Connor McDavid or whatever.
Well, that's a nice little segue, because I asked the question, is there currently a Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese like equivalent in the NHL, where Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, personal rivalry, whether or not they like each other off the court, doesn't matter. Personal rivalry that generates so much buzz, and like that individual matchup will probably do better numbers ratings wise than the final. Like, is there a situation in the NHL, whether it's team versus team or player versus player head to head, that would guarantee a ratings bonanza, possibly better than the biggest series or game of the year?
It's a great question, because the answer factually is no. Because that game, Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese, blew out so many like massive college football games, NFL games, Thursday night football.
It'll probably blow out its own national championship.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, is there any matchup that's guaranteed to smoke what would typically be seen as the biggest, most must-watch game of the year from a competitive standpoint?
I think to do that, you have to strip it away piece by piece and say, is there an NHL player with a Caitlin Clark-like impact? Selfishly, biasedly, I will say the closest thing is Connor McDavid, because when I watch the Oilers and when I watch Connor McDavid, he, as I've said before, great players in hockey typically look a little better than the rest of the players because it's such a fast game. Connor McDavid is truly the only player I watch, and I say he is so much better than everybody else. When I watch Caitlin Clark against her poor competition, I feel she is so much better than everybody else. You can't take your eyes off her. That exists for Connor McDavid as well. I don't think yet, probably because the Oilers haven't been successful enough, there's a massive foil to the Oilers. As a hockey nerd, I would say
the massive foil to the Oilers is the Oilers.
Yeah. Like, I would say Oilers Golden Knights, I am watching every night like it is LSU against Iowa. But I know in my heart of hearts, there isn't a personality and a talent like Angel Reese that's countering what Connor McDavid and Caitlin Clark bring to the table.
And just the nature of the two sports, like for better or for worse, basketball is a much more individual sport. Whereas if you have like one giant on either side, they're going to be on the floor at the same time most of the game. They have like the head-to-head 1v1 kind of battles that are more rare in hockey because it's more of a team sport. You're spending less time on the ice, shared time, and it's not necessarily always going head to head versus like team versus team.
Somebody suggested maybe back in the day PK Subban and Brad Marchand, but they were too good of friends and they were teammates, and even when they would tussle and everything,
but they didn't like each other.
They were like, they were each sides. They were two hated teams at the time, and they were each the face of why everyone hated their team. So they were very important in that regard. But I mean, like the biggest thing I'll think about with PK Subban and Brad Marchand is that PK Subban fucked up Brad Marchand like I've never seen anybody else fuck up Brad Marchand. You know about that hip check?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was incredible.
That will go down as one of the greatest. How is that guy still alive? I don't know if people remember this. Brad Marchand played like a couple more games after that and then was out for like a week.
Really?
Because he was like, I gotta. Whoa. That was like one of the most incredible, non-dirty, holy fuck, that guy got rocked But I don't know. Like, do you have like maybe
No.
if Bedard gets there and we end up getting some Western Conference Finals, but even then you need like the seeding. Actually, that's not true because this was Elite Eight. But you'd need some big series of Connor versus Connor.
There really hasn't been personal individual rivalries much in the NHL recently. Like the last one that really fucking moved the needle for me personally was Drew Doughty versus Matthew Tkachuk. Like Drew Doughty hates Matthew Tkachuk's guts, and Matthew Tkachuk made his life hell every time they were out there. And like that season where Tkachuk hurt Doughty, like every time they met was must-see TV. And before that, like obviously Ovi and Crosby
I was
were
gonna say
great.
if we go back to Subban and Marchand, we get to go back to Ovechkin and Crosby.
Right, of course. But even then, that wasn't them two kind of clashing. It was their teams clashing and them leading their teams. And they just kind of frequently met in the playoffs.
Well, but that's the thing about Caitlin Clark. Like the one thing about this is I feel like the media plays such a role in it, and hockey media is not going to do that the way basketball media does. Because like we talked about this the other day, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese don't guard each other. Like they don't play each other on the court. The rivalry is almost entirely manufactured. They both said that they like each other. Obviously, their teams have met on very high stakes circumstances on 2 occasions now.
But they do shit talk each other.
Not really. Like,
oh no,
don't
Caitlin
they?
Clark.
They
Caitlin Clark's a bit of an asshole, and I
mean,
yeah.
but they
hate
don't
that.
shit talk each other. Like Caitlin Clark, she hits a big 3, she's screaming. But again, Angel Reese is like on the other side of the court. They're not even near each other. Like,
but last year, Angel Reese did give it back to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, but Angel Reese does that to everybody. Like it's not like a thing between them. It's almost entirely manufactured, and the NHL media doesn't do that. And then, like you said, I think the game is just too different. The game is too fluid.
But rivalries, like heated, like personal rivalries, do exist in hockey and have existed in hockey.
But in order for it to have the impact that this, the media has to care about it, and the media is not going to treat any rivalries in hockey the same way, because like A, it's a basketball thing, and B, like the fact of the matter is race plays an incredible part in this rivalry. Like that's why that's part of why it's so like trumped up, and obviously it's much less likely to happen in hockey for obvious reasons.
And in hockey, you're like if we're making the comparison to hockey, like it has to happen between 2 players and individuals that individually move the needle themselves.
Right.
Like Angel Reese moves the needle alone. Caitlin Clark obviously moves the needle alone. Nobody's going to give a fuck about like a Brad Marchand, Ryan Reeves rivalry, because they'll just be like, one of these guys is just out there to cause problems.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up race though, because I was going to say culturally there's something with the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark thing that just doesn't exist mainly because the players that we're talking about have been around and known for a while. I did not know who Caitlin Clark was until the year 2023. And I was probably a little late. Yeah. Once I saw her, I was like, I'm watching every game from now on. And this hit like North America. And suddenly it's like, hey, this is your like 1975 thing. Like, we're your new favorite band.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the other thing.
It shows up and it is the best thing.
It's just so new too that like people are like, oh shit, I didn't. And for better or worse, people are like, I didn't realize the women got down like this. This is awesome. Whereas like guys hating each other in hockey, like it's hockey, of course. Like that happens. I think there's a lot of people who are like, I didn't realize that the women acted like this. This is awesome.
I think that Caitlin Clark, we're underselling a little bit that Caitlin Clark, I know doesn't dunk, but Caitlin Clark has a little of the Jaylen Brown, like will dunk on you and stand over you a second too long.
She's Steph Curry. She'll hit a 3 in your face and then she'll fucking shimmy in your face down the court and laugh at you. Like it's awesome.
She's just like one of the like 10 most important people in the world.
Well,
if you're gonna give fucking Taylor Swift Time Magazine Person of the Year,
honestly,
if we're to do one right now, it's probably Trump. maybe, but he's been.
I don't know if he would be right now. I feel like
Who is the? We should do Time Magazine Person of the Year of the Week. Who is the?
well,
time?
it's definitely Caitlin Clark of the week.
Right
Of
now,
the
it's
week,
Caitlin
yeah.
Clark.
Of the week, I would. Yeah, I mean,
Could be
that would be a
Bobby
fun
Ryan.
exercise. Buddy
Buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
Actually, it could be Trevor Zegras. Hockey's biggest rivalry right now is Trevor Zegras versus everybody.
Well, no, I like what Steve. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. It's Torts versus the media. Like that. Like honestly, that is really the one that like you see that motherfucker up on the screenshot. Which, by the way, he apparently had a very awesome presser during our show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I can grab.
I mean, like when Time Magazine came out and like we had the Taylor Swift discussion, we had the discussion of who would hockey's person of the year be for the calendar year. If we're talking about this season, the person of the year is for sure Torts
I think it is too.
or Zach Hyman.
Zach Hyman. We could do the build your person of the year thing, and it's like Torts's quarter zip, Zach Hyman's hands, but Kevin Hayes' fingerprints. Trevor Zegras is what would it be? I don't know what we want from Trevor Zegras.
His fucking tear ducts.
Yes, he cries. That's how ducks cry. They cry.
The only other thing I wanted to say about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is I saw someone, and obviously it depends on how their pro careers go, but like I saw someone compare them to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and I think that is more the tier that ultimately they can end up in, where it's like these two are in college already, and now they have an opportunity to go to the pros and continue this rivalry and be the greatest of all time pro players. Which, I mean, like both of them, you can reasonably question how much their game is going to transfer to the pro game. But regardless, like I think ultimately that rivalry is going to be considered one of the greatest of all time, not just the greatest of like right now.
I mean, now that we're talking WNBA, Angel Reese in ESPN's latest mock draft, is projected to go 7th overall. What the fuck?
This guy's in the WNBA mock draft game. Love this.
What the fuck are they? I know I sound like Larry David asking about Capo Caco right now. Like I'm like a little out of my depths, but can somebody explain to me? Hockey chat?
I mean, I don't know. I would have to look. I'm guessing Cameron Brink is up there because she's like 8 feet tall.
Paige Beckers is going back. She's not going to be in the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't.
I hate to say this, but in a burgeoning league still, how do you not? You could take a celebrity with the 2nd overall pick. How are you not doing that? Like you should be. I'd be the shitty owner that's like, if you don't take Angel Reese 2nd overall, you're fired. No one ever hears from you again.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens again, ultimately, I'm a little bit out of my my depths here too, but.
What do you mean?
If
this is a hockey podcast. We know and are experts in women's basketball.
You know who has the 2nd overall pick?
The Phoenix Mercury?
The Sparks.
Oh.
So you could have Angel Reese keeping those colors.
True.
Going to
LA.
Los Angeles?
Could be cool. But yeah, I think definitely if that happens, that's something where the owner was like, I don't care about basketball.
The LA Sparks general manager is Reagan Pebley. Reagan Pebley, if you do not take Angel Reese 2nd overall, I don't want anyone to get fired, but you've done a bad job. And I know ball.
So the draft is
you
Monday.
think you can do your job better than the woman that's in place in the front office who's been making money?
If she doesn't,
been doing it her entire career. You've been watching basketball for like a year and a half. You think you can do her job?
Draft
pretty
Angel
problematic.
Reese 2nd overall, yes.
Pretty problematic.
I could do the job better. And her name is, somebody in the chat said her name is literally Angel.
The marketing opportunities might be worth it alone.
You got to take.
I mean, actually, I'm not mad about her. I'm looking at this mock draft. I'm not mad about it at all. Like, Aaliyah Edwards is one of the best. I think she won Player of the Year a couple years ago. Camila Cardoso is a baller.
All I'll say is that Bobby Ryan has never heard of any of those names.
No.
He couldn't name.
Well, that was the thing. I was like, when he said that, I was just like, I can name 5 to 7.
I just really hate the people that are like, I don't know this, so you shouldn't care about
bragging
it.
about your own ignorance.
Yeah,
makes me
I agree with.
very upset.
Yep.
And when people just shrug off, though, like, well, I don't know about it. It's cool. I do. Sean does. Like, somebody does. There are people who care about it. And the case of the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese thing with Bobby Ryan. Like, proof's in the pudding, baby.
Yeah,
everyone fucking watched that shit.
That's what I said before the show. Like, it's just, it was always ridiculous when people did it, but like, especially right now,
the timing of it is crazy.
Like, nobody cares about any sport in North America more than they care about women's basketball right now. Like, it is the most popular thing happening right now. So to come out here and be like, oh, we're gonna pretend that it's a thing, brother. You can pretend all you want. It's a thing. Like, everyone is. DJ was watching women's college basketball over hockey, and he does a hockey show. I mean, I guess I do too. Like,
DJ does stupid things.
That cake is baking. Like,
it's in the oven, buddy. It's way too late for that.
Yeah, it's just a horrible time to pick that fight if you're Bobby Ryan.
we never did like spike.
We didn't.
want to demand that.
We will do the like spike right before Slate Grade. Like spike time. Everybody who's in the chat, shout out to you. Thanks for hanging out. It's like spike time. 3, 2, 1. Hit that thumbs up right below the video player. Give us those likes. Hell yeah, Sean. Way to go. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that as well. We're over 5K, but we want to keep growing. And after DJ gives his slate grade for tonight's slate, which has to be better than last night, absolutely has to be, make sure to give us a show grade and hit the YouTube video after we're done going live, and just drop us a comment. Give us a show grade. A minus. Funny stuff, boys. It's up to you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, let's do a slate grade presented by Game Time.
Humping
My penis.
We have 5 games. Do we have 6? 1, 2, 3.
That's 6 games.
6 games this evening, and way better than last night. 7 p.m.
We have 5 games this evening.
What's that?
We have 5 games this evening.
Right. What did I accidentally? Did I leave something in there?
We have.
I mean, I can just pull it back up right now and do it off.
Tough start to the slate grade.
ESPN.com. Well, no, we're good. 7 p.m. we have Lightning at Maple Leaf. 7 p.m. we have Devils at Rangers. 9:30 p.m. we have Oilers at Stars. 9:30 p.m. we have Kraken at Kings. 10 p.m. we have Canucks at Coyotes. So that is 5 games. I must say, another cuckoo banana pants structure. You go from 2 at 7 to 2 at 9:30. Not an 8, not an 8:30, not a 9, and then 1:10. 3 of these games feature 2 playoff teams: Lightning and Maple Leafs, Oilers at Stars, Canucks at Coyotes. At 9:30 and 10, you have the dueling, hey, headliner, co-headliner kind of thing where you could watch a few songs of Oilers at Stars before you run over to the Canucks at Coyotes. I'm sorry, Coyotes are not a playoff team, so it's 2 games that have 2 playoff teams. I just got excited because the Canucks were playing. But the Oilers, Stars, and Canucks playing anybody is what you're really going to want. So the fun begins mostly at 9:30, although it's a nice little appetizer with the Lightning and Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Like the Stars starting at 9:30 at home when you could have really used an 8:30 game is a bit of a stinker in terms of structure. But it's because that's a national game. It's a TNT game. You're getting Devils Rangers on TNT, and then you're getting Oilers Stars on TNT. So that's why. And I don't love that.
This is back-to-back games of us not getting Gene.
I know.
And shout out all of our friends at ESPN. It is factual. Not as good as the Sportsnet broadcast. Not even fucking close.
Not even close.
So I was very upset watching that the other night. The Oilers lost because of it. And now, I mean, I'll tell you what, though. We love the TNT boys. They're going to get up for this one.
Oilers Stars, 100%.
Oilers Stars, they are going to get up for this.
Highly recommend if you're like on the peripherals, if you're just like a casual hockey fan, fucking stay up for Oilers Stars tonight because that game's gonna rule.
It's the crazy adults versus the actual adults.
Yes.
This is like the what would it be? This is like a sports car against like a just real like a Lexus. Right?
Yeah, like a Mercedes.
I don't know how much cars cost.
Like
Are like no, Ferraris are more expensive. But let's say it's like a
did you say a Mercedes? Like the Stars are essentially like a Mercedes.
it's well built. You're not going to go racing in it, but You're going to move around and impress.
Yeah.
Oilers, meanwhile, are a Ferrari that might get crashed a couple of times. I saw the other day a Twitch streamer got banned from Twitch because he crashed his car while live streaming.
Yeah.
And then he
Bad
kept his
behavior.
phone going and he was yelling at the person that he hit. And you could see in the video, he's driving and he's like, everyone's telling me to stop driving. So, all right, I'll pull over. And as you could see the car in the lane, like right next to him. You could see the headlights of the car. And immediately, like, phone goes flying and it cuts to him. And he's like, what the fuck, bruh? Oh my God, you hit my shit, bruh. You hit my shit. And this, like, adult in a minivan is like, young man, you are currently streaming. This is not my fault.
That's got to be awesome for insurance purposes.
Oh yeah, I was just saying
when
that.
you
I want to get a dash
literally
cam
document
so
your
bad.
own negligence on the road.
And that person had so many, like, you could see the chat as it was happening. It's like, no, oh my God, what an idiot, blah, blah. So there's a lot of people in there. That's probably his source of income. And he gets banned from Twitch. Not a good time. But tonight, I'll tell you what, it's a nice, light kind of watching experience. 3 games, really, about which you could care. I don't know, I guess keep an eye on the Kings. They're trash-ass behavior these days. Devils are already dead. They're playing a back-to-back. Whatever. I'm giving this one an A-.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was asking more from the slate, given what we had last night. But Wednesdays, historically, lighter slate, more like substance to the smaller slate on a Wednesday. This one, I think, falls into that classification.
I'll take this on a Wednesday. If you tell me I'm getting this on a Wednesday in April, games with playoff implications, a situation where we haven't said this word yet, but it's going to be happening a lot. You know what you can do tonight?
Disrupt.
You can scoreboard watch.
Mm.
Yeah, Oilers hitting the intermission. Knobloch saying, now I want you to skate hard. And players are, I'm not going to listen to that shit. Everybody see the scoreboard? How are the Canucks doing? Anybody got a scoreboard for me? Hey, what's that? No, playing on your phone. Coach, I'm not playing. I'm scoreboard watching.
I'm number crunching.
I'm looking at the scoreboard. Yeah, just imagine they just have like ESPN.com/NHL/scores. And they're just like,
That's what they're doing on the tablets on the bench.
yeah, it's just like a static scoreboard. It's like not refreshing. Just, what does this one say? What's happening? Still an intermission. That's how they scoreboard watch in the NHL. And that's how we do it here on the What Chaos program. We've had a lovely time today. We will be back tomorrow. Check it out. Subscribe everywhere you can. Hammer, YouTube, whatever you need. And maybe we might have a little something fun coming for you soon. Who's to say? Talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.